Hello again to another Agricola React, and today we're watching
why US elections only give you two choices from Vox.
Yeah, that's something you should explain it to me.
I have
And
no
we have
clue.
date night, and here is Eric, and my name is Zaka, if you don't know that. So yeah, let's just jump into it and see, because election time in America is upon us.
The person who gets the most votes wins.
Not in America.
Let's talk about this. In the US, we basically have two choices in elections. And listen, it's not going amazing.
Government shutdown.
Split Congress. Great divide.
Cannot agree.
Too polarized. Big majorities don't want either one of them running.
Big majorities of us actually don't want the two-party system at all. We want more options. But a lot of the time, we actually do have more options. It's just that when it comes time to vote for them, we mostly don't. We kind of can't. In our system, voting for a third party helps the party you least agree with. It's just a protest vote. But there's a way we could make it more than that. We just need to take a closer look at this. New England, the northeastern region of the US. About
That's the New
15
England?
million people live here. These
you're
6
surprised, huh?
states
Yeah.
send 21 representatives to Congress. And in the 2022 congressional elections, 36% of voters here voted for Republicans. None of this region's 21 representatives are Republicans.
It means that the perspective of the New England Republicans, who have historically been fiscally conservative and more socially progressive, is not reflected in Congress.
This is because of the way we elect representatives to Congress, where every representative comes from a different district. Each district holds its own election, and in each election, the person who gets the most votes wins. These are winner-take-all elections, and they produce this result all over the country. Take the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma has 5 congressional districts. It votes 1/3 Democratic. It has no Democratic representatives. Before we start blaming gerrymandering for this, in other words, the shape of these districts, in Massachusetts, which I admit does look kind of gerrymandered, a group of independent map makers looked at this situation, and they tried to draw new district maps that would give Republicans some representation here. But they found that though there are more ways of building a districting plan than particles in the galaxy, every single one would produce a 9-0 Democratic delegation. And now imagine if in every single House race, there was also a really popular third party getting 25% of the vote in every district in the country. That party would earn 0 seats in Congress.
If you ask yourself, why haven't you voted for a third party? Most of the time is, well, they don't really have a chance. Our system, by its very nature, precludes political competition.
But most democracies don't actually work this way. In 2021, a German center-right party called the Free Democratic Party won about 90 seats in Germany's parliament. German federal elections have about 300 constituencies that work sort of like America's districts, with each one electing a single representative. And out of every one of those races, the Free Democratic Party did not win a single one. But Germany uses a form of what is called proportional representation.
Proportional representation means that a share of votes gets you a share of seats.
These are 4 common types of proportional representation. And one way to understand each of them is, are you voting for a person or are you voting for a party? So at one end of that spectrum, in a closed list system, like they use in Spain, for example, you might not even vote for a candidate, you just vote for a party. Each party wins some percentage of the vote, and those percentages each translate into a certain number of seats. The people who fill those seats come off of each party's list, so voters don't get to choose those candidates. That's the closed part. But there are also open list systems, which are maybe the most common, used in places like Finland, Belgium, Denmark. A standard version of this is you vote for a person, and your vote counts towards a larger party total, sort of like we saw before, determining how many seats each party gets. But in open list, you do choose the candidates. The seats go to the people in each party who got the most votes.
So Poland works too.
Germany uses a system called mixed member proportional. Mixed because in their system you cast 2 votes for a person and for a party. Each district elects 1 person, and those people fill some of the seats in parliament. But the rest of the seats are filled by looking at the party vote and then doling the remaining seats out to the parties until the end product is proportional to the party vote. And the last one we'll look at is the one that Ireland uses to elect its legislature. And this is actually a version of something we're already starting to do in some congressional and local races in the US.
Ranked choice.
Ranked choice voting.
In ranked choice voting, instead of just voting for one person, you rank multiple candidates. It's a system that encourages you to vote for smaller parties and less established candidates, because if your first choice is unpopular, they use your second choice vote. And that process repeats itself until a certain threshold is reached. On its own, though, ranked choice voting doesn't necessarily make these smaller candidates that much more likely to actually win. They will be at a disadvantage in any election that only one person can win. But if you lower the threshold of victory in a ranked choice race, that produces multiple winners, more proportional to the vote. All of these systems have different formulas for turning votes into representation. What they have in common is they all distribute power proportionally, instead of just relying on this. Now, you'll notice we spent the last few minutes talking about Congress and Parliament's legislatures. Presidential elections can definitely be made more fair. That is another video. But they will always, by definition, be single winner elections, most likely to be won by the more established parties. But if Congress is more representative and less polarized, it could change the whole partisan dynamic around the presidency.
Right now, if the president wants to pass a law, he or she, with rare exceptions, needs both Democrats and Republican Party support. But if there were 3 or 4 or 5 parties in Congress, that would open up far more coalitional possibilities and combinations to pass laws.
The key to making this happen will be taking these single winner elections that we use to elect Congress and replacing them with multi-winner elections that pick, say, 3 to 5 people to represent a district. For example, Oklahoma, now 5 congressional districts, could act as a single district, holding an election that 5 people can win. It would still mostly be represented by Republicans, just not exclusively. Another option is that we could keep many of our current districts and just make Congress bigger, so use each district to elect more representatives. But okay, how do we actually do any of this? Federal law currently says that no congressional district can elect more than 1 representative. So to make Congress more representative, that is what we'll need to change. But that change needs to be made by Congress.
When the country is struggling to even agree on small things, it can feel really unthinkable. But then there are plenty of indicators that being a member of Congress is pretty miserable these days. Changing the system would let members focus on the reason they ran for Congress in the first place, serving their community, making sure they get things done.
But there are other ways to change things too. The states each choose how their own state legislatures get elected. Cities choose how their city councils get elected, and the hurdles to changing those are much, much lower.
The more experiments we can try, the more different forms of proportional representation we can implement in the United States, I think the better ultimately our democracy will be.
This rule feels really simple, but that simplicity, it hides a lot of problems.
We're one of the oldest, if not the oldest democracy in the world, right? All these different other democracies, most of the world's democracies, are using a system that's better. We just need to update our system.
What do you think?
Thanks for watching.
Interesting.
One really
He's still talking.
important way that we're able to continue making videos is viewer contributions, support from people who like what we do and want to help us keep doing it. This month we've put together a video that will actually only be available to contributors. It's a
it's like a thing. Okay, never mind.
Ad. Give us money. Like PBS.
So, Well, I thought that would be more about like just about the presidential elections, but obviously it isn't. But what you think about it? Well, you learned something new. You know when New England is now.
Yes, exactly. I thought New England was some kind of state I forgot about. I was like, okay. Where was I when that changed?
Yeah, it's funny.
But now I know it's
Multiple
Northeast.
states in that part.
Yeah.
Of it, yeah. That is funny though. Easy. I don't know. I don't know what to add because obviously I can't vote in American elections.
Yep.
You got
And
your
I usually
ballot,
vote
so-
from my family's majority. If they say, hey, we're all voting Democrat, then I vote Democrat.
Are you registered Democrat?
I'm independent.
Registered independent.
Yes.
Okay.
I used to be Green Party, but then I switched to independent.
So why don't you vote for someone independent?
Independent would be either Republican or Democrat.
No, but wouldn't there be like an
They
independent
would.
candidate?
Yeah, they would, yes. But normally they don't.
They have no chance. That's
Yes.
what they just said.
Yeah. If you don't vote for a majority party, Democrat or Republican, the other one's going to win.
So
It's like writing in a candidate. It's not
Oh,
that
you
hard.
have an option?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
So,
We don't. We just vote for the thing. And it's like what they said that they have Sweden, Denmark. They have very similar thing. You're voting for person and basically I can vote for a person that I know and it's on the list, but I'd say there would be like you've seen the ballot last year when I went voting.
massive.
Yeah, because there was like 40 candidates in each party, and it's like
Poster.
yeah, and it's a lot. There's a good few parties in Poland as well. So when I was voting, basically, I think it works the way that you're voting for a candidate. Well, presidential elections are obviously different because you're voting for the set candidate for that presidential candidate. But if it comes about the governmental elections, you're voting for someone, and it would be like. Because I'm on abroad, so I'm voting for people that they go in from Warsaw. So basically, you're voting for someone, and if you vote for someone whose number on the party's list, number I don't know 20 or something like that, it just everything looks person who is number 1 on the list gonna get definitely in the thing. So person you're voting on, not that doesn't mean doesn't gonna get into the government, you know. So yeah, it's kind of not fair as well, but then I don't know. Like the Irish system is kind of different as well. That's always like every time there's elections here, there's just vote number 1, vote number. I never really knew that till they actually explained it now here, but that's supposed to mean. So like yeah, everything is different. Every country have a different setup.
Yep.
So yeah. Anything else to add?
No.
Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. See Eric next week. Bye.